new, and then project. So that is exactly the same as on the startup screen. Okay. Now to create a project, we need to have at least the ESP.NET. Okay, we need to search for ESP.NET. Okay. Now that's why for Mac, I was hoping to see the ESP.NET or .NET because on the YouTube that I saw, there's a template called .NET. From that, you will have exactly the same on Microsoft. I just wonder why for Miss or Mom Lost Mac is we're not able to find that. Maybe there's a missing component or frameworks that need to be installed during the installation. It might be. Okay. So next is our programming language should be C Sharp. Now, if you are familiar with Java, C, and C++, now the C Sharp is the modern programming language for Visual Studio for Microsoft. Now, our platforms, we say Windows, okay, and then just scroll down a little bit and find the web application. Ito, web application.NET framework, okay, and then click next. Then the name of the project. So I would say online store, and then I need to save this one on the location that I can easily find in the future. So ito na sinasabi ko sa inyo even for the few meetings that always change the location para kung gusto nyo hanapin yung project nyo, kung hindi nyo nakikita yung project nyo doon sa recent list, at least you know where to find it, okay? Especially those mga PC or laptop that has multiple or number of hard disks. So it's better to have create a one folder and then place all your projects there. So on this case, I have the COMSOFIL folder. You see one. I will see online sales. I will save it here. Okay, so we might not, or we, di naman talaga tayo pareho ng hard disk or location ng available hard disk sa laptop natin or PC. So if you only have drive C, pwede kayo sa drive C and then create lang kayo ng isang folder dyan. Let's say COMSOFIL. And then add doon nyo i-save yung project nyo. Next is place solution and project in the same directory. Okay, so importante ito. Reason that uh, para madali na siyang buksan kasi kung pag-save mo nito kasama na rin yung pinaka solution manager niya. Okay? Now, pwede naman na hindi mo siya isama diyan kung lalo na kung may mga existing ka na solution manager. But siguraduhin mo lang na mahanap mo yung solution manager mo. Otherwise, pwede mo naman siyang i-import din ulit yung project mo into another solution manager o solution project. Okay? Now, framework is very important for development, especially for to the user end. Kasi ang purpose for framework is that if your user are using Windows XP, so probably mababa yung framework na gamit niya. So XP it should be framework 4. So your project is version 4.5 or 4.6 or 4.7. That is not compatible with framework 4. So hindi siya gagana doon. Okay? Kasi we are now on the higher or latest framework. Now, but for this is only mostly affected on on Windows application. Okay, there are multiple types of project, okay, or application types. So we have Windows application, web application, which is browser application. We have Android, iOS, okay, Python. Now, one of these most affected for the framework are Windows applications. Reason that if you run this application in different Windows operating system, it should work based on what is available framework. So sa Windows XP, available framework on that maximum is framework 4. Above than that, it will not work. Okay? Now Windows 7 until now they are supported for 4.7. They have updated also the firmware on Windows 7 and Windows 10. So let's use 4.7 for this project and then just click create. Now on our web application we have different templates that we can use. We have empty. If you are professional enough to create your project from scratch, then empty is for you. Now if you want that this application just intended for the web forms, then you can select for web forms. Web API, if you want to design for API functions to be shared to your client or to be shared to others, just to integrate to your project or to integrate to your application, that is Web API. Katulad niyan, meron tayong sa mga bangko. So ang mga bangko, we wanted to integrate like for Sako, meron kami mga payments which is directly integrated to different partners like Kitaf, CCP, Merit, You Got a Gift, RG Banks, all of that. We designed that through the Web API which is shared by the partners. So kung katulad natin, gagawa tayo sa application natin, meron tayong Web API, then isi-share lang natin yung Web API natin sa kanila para makapag-connect sila, makapagkuha sila ng data or makapag-perform sila sa ating application. So that is called Web API. Single page application. This is a what you call this one? Landing page. Kung yung mga dati-dati, ito bago to ha, bago ang single page application. Dati kasi yung mga static or mga HTML programmers na usually gamit nila yung mga Dreamweaver or Node++, ito yon, mga landing pages. So currently the Microsoft introduced the single page. Kung ang purpose lang naman natin is just for the viewing, yung STEMI lang, okay? Now, but this course or this cluster is intended for MVC, okay, for the web application. Now, we need to select MVC on this, and then go on your right side, we have authentication. We need to select individual authentication, or later on we can change this one during on the development stages. Okay, that's fine as well, but it's good to design the application on what we want. So mas maganda na yung gawin nyo na ngayon, later on kung hindi naman siya kailangan, pwede mo naman siyang i-deactivate lang. Pero kung i-activate mo siya ulit, or i-activate mo siya from no authentication to individual accounts, user accounts, there are some components that you need to install or enable for them to work. Okay, so it's better to use it for now or install it now, and then you can enable it later or disable it in the future. Okay, now there are a lot of parameters that you need to select on, but we can keep the what has been default. Okay, so let's click the button create. Now creation of project is always depends on the performance or your device. So kung mabilis ang unit nyo, that would be less than a minute, you will have your project. Now we have now created a fresh project. Okay, ito yung pinaka fresh project na. So to run this, you just click on the play button and then make sure that you are selected on browser that you wanted to. If you have Chrome installed and it is set as your default browser, then automatically the application selected as Chrome. If you have using Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, it depends on what is our requirements, but usually the latest or the current bootstrap that we are used is compatible with up to IE7 or IE6 is still working, but below that it didn't work. There are some JavaScript issue on lower version of Internet Explorer. Okay, so let's run. Now also for running, it will also take some time for your if you have bit old laptop, then just be patient, okay? Hindi naman natin kailangan talagang mabilisan na nandyan na. Okay, it depends on what we had. Enjoy lang natin yung moment. Now, okay, so we have, this is now the default project that we have. This is a 100% working project. So, pwede na natin to i-deploy in your domain if meron kayong available na domain. Kung bumili na kayong domain, then, or if you have existing domain, pwede natin to i-deploy para makikita niya. So, as is to, gumagana na yung 100% of project na to. Okay, for initial. So, we have the registration. Okay, registration is working now. Login is working. Unless and until you will add this one or link this one on your database, then the registration and login will work. For now, it will not. Is the reason that there is no database yet na ni-connect natin dito. Kung gusto natin to patakbo ng register and login, the system will provide you for a local database, which is also perfect, okay? Sa mga, lalo na sa mga practice lang. So, i-click mo to, tapos mag-add ka ng email address. Email address is just a dummy email address and the password, okay? And then just click create. On this case, since it is not connected to physical SQL server or any databases, so what happened is Microsoft Visual Studio will create you a local database. Okay, this is good also for the beginners. So, pwede nyo gamitin yan. And then, once you click create, it will create this one on, save the data on the local database. And that will work. You can log in and you can add data as well for that. Okay. Now, but later on, we will use our own free databases like we have MSQL free edition, which is Express edition, and we have also MySQL and different other databases that we can use on the project. Now, okay, so this is a running project. Now, what we will do is that, again, for the information for everyone, for the default project, Visual Studio offered us a free Bootstrap template, which is uh, version 3.4. To check that, we can go on content. From the content, we have the Bootstrap, and then just find the bootstrap.css and double click, you will find your Bootstrap version here. Okay, now it is free, it's an open source, and it is a uh, responsive layout. So what do you mean by responsive? So once this application open on different sizes of screen devices, or let's say the size of the screen, then the system will, or the application will adapt based on that. So let's say this is your laptop or your desktop screen, but you wanted to make it more smaller. So let's say this is your PC or laptop. It looks like that. If you have the wide screen, then it would be like this. Now, but if you have a bit small screen, so it will be like this. So maybe this is 120, 1200 screen. Now, if you scroll to the left or make it from left to right, that's perfect as well. So make it left, right to left, and then just scroll down, just drag and drag until you reach up to the smallest screen. So this will be the screen size of your cell phone. Then this will be how it will look like. Okay, the menu is on the top, and these are the data has been arranged perfectly, beautifully. Okay, automatically. So there's no need to think about na paano ba to sir magdi-display siya ng magiging maganda pa rin siya kahit doon sa maliit na screen. Unlike sa mga meron pa rin until now yung mga company website na hindi gumagamit ng Bootstrap. If you try to squeeze the size of that browser that you had, then yung mga, kung ang original niya is ganito, tapos pag scroll mo ng ganito, ito mawawala hanggat yung makikita nyo lang, baka ito na lang makikita nyo, yung iba hindi nyo na makikita. Yan ang sa mga lumang browser, sa mga lumang application na hindi gumagamit ng, yung mga ginagamit nila yung mga static pa rin na CSS. Hindi sila gumagamit ng mga responsive CSS. Now, today we will go into introduction of basic use of bootstrap. So we will change the whole structure or the naming, and then let's apply the bootstrap basic information kung paano natin paano ba to ini-enter natin, paano natin ganyan, paano natin magagawa ng grade system, paano natin magpahit ng kulay-kulay, at paano natin baguhin ang text. Okay? Now, so let's stop this. To stop, you just click the stop button. If you want to click post, if you want to post this application, you just click this button here or break, and then you can click the stop if you want to stop the application. Now, there are two important notes here. If you are on HTML or UI, then perfectly fine, you can update the UI. If you go with views, home, and index. So from here, pwede natin to babaguhin even if the application is working or running. So kung tumatakbo yan, walang problema. Babaguhin ko to. I would say i-delete ko to kasi baka ito lang. Okay, i-delete ko lang yan. Tapos save. And then, puntahan ko yung application ko and then just click refresh or press F5. Then nawala na yung data dito. Okay? So, just simple as that. But, if you are working on the controller, then the system is required to stop. Kasi, ano sabi ko sa controller before? Controller is the processor or the main processing for the website or the application. While views is a UI. So, yung ano nakikita sa mga mata natin, yan ang views. Okay? But, bawat click mo ng button there o bawat things that you will do or bawat click mo nito para pag-reload o pag-refresh, that is, first is has been processed by the main processor and then rendered back to the view para makikita siya sa user. Now, for now, we will not discuss much detail on controller, because later on we will focus on the controller. We will design how the system will works, and then we will design the view based on the controller. So for now, let's enjoy the moment on UI. So dito muna tayo, wag muna natin pahirapan yung sarili natin doon sa controller. So controller is a C# programming language, whereas for the HTML is the HTML5. So if you are experienced with HTML5 or HTML programming, then this is your time to shine. Now, if you are really fresh on both of these, I suggest to have read a little bit on the internet, watch more tutorials, okay, that will help us. Reason that we have really limited number of days for this cluster, and that we cannot cover all of that topics. Like for example, we want to know, sir, ano ba ang Jomtron? Ano ba ang div? Ano ba ang class? Ano ba ang h1? Ano ba ang p? So these are, we say, div is HTML tags. Class is part of the CSS. Jomtron is a CSS. What to call this one? Class of the CSS. So, for example, meron kang Jomtron doon, meron Jomtron doon sa CSS mo, tatawagin mo lang yan. And then si Jomtron, meron kang design doon na dapat si Jomtron meron siyang box. So, meron siyang ganito, meron siyang box, meron siyang background na gray. Tapos ang size niya ng box niya is ganyan. So yan ang Jomtron for. Without the Jomtron, I will remove the Jomtron. What happened? I will save and then refresh. So that it will, this is how it looks like, okay? So without the Jomtron. So Jomtron is a class, okay? Class from Bootstrap, okay? So class and then the name of the class that you wanted to render. Okay. Now each one is HTML tags. P is HTML tags, E is a hyperlink, and a lot, thousands of HTML tags that you want to study more if you really wanted to learn more on HTML taggings. HTML is there's another cluster in COMSOFIL. I really don't know if they have opened this cluster this semester or not. But there are two on this. One is basic HTML. This is purely a basic HTML, and then advanced HTML. Then it should be after the two cluster, it should be the web application. That would be the final one. But unfortunately, it's not easy to catch up some students which has already some experience on development. So even me, kung may experience naman ako sa development, why should I study more on basic web application, right? So it's a waste of time. So that's why the COMSOFIL decided to cater any of the interested student to enroll for web application to accept it even though without any experience at all. Ang nahirapan naman yan kundi si ako, 'di ba? Si ako ang nahirapan kasi ako nag-adjust ngayon with the students. But I'm happy that I'm learning as well, and um, from the very basic is the essential para matuto tayo, 'di ba? So maganda na rin 'yan. Uh, sharing is knowledge sharing is para sa akin napaka-importante. So I have here I I I was really a lead developer on the Philippines, and then when I joined at Saco as also a developer. So marami-rami na rin akong natuturuan, at yung iba naman nagtuloy, yung iba naman um, hindi sumama nag-ano lang, parang nag-join lang, then after a while kalimutan lang din. So that's perfect because hindi naman lahat nagpapalit ng um, way of life kung paano gusto niya mangyari, so di ba? May iba naman ina-adapt nila for some reason that nagagamit nila for in many ways. Okay, so one of this I'm proud to say is that Richie is sir. So Richie is one of my junior developer. When he was joining at Saco, he joined as technical support. And then when I asked him, "Do you know some programming?" He said, "No, I have very basic programming, sir, and I know Visual Basic." Okay, Visual Basic. Of course, Visual Basic naman talaga tayo halos nagsisimula, and then later on mag-upgrade tayo ng programming language natin. Then I teach him, and then until now he's really a good programmer now in Saco. He's now able to deliver what the company needed to. Okay, so kung nagawa yan ni Richie, so uh, I would say kayang-kaya nyo yan. Especially I saw some student on this cluster that has potential. Okay, so the previous cluster, second semester of 2020, first and second semester of 2020, we have three or four has until now they are enhancing their talent or knowledge on or experience for development. So that's good news. Now, okay. So for now, what we will do, I will try to drive you through these file structures, and then let's change the project name, some colors, and let's go on basic bootstrap. Now, first is we have the folder system. Now, on your right side, you will find your at the top. This is called the solutions. Every solutions you can have add multiple projects. So it doesn't mean that you have your solution online store. Maybe you have offline store or whatsoever it is. Online pautang, o di ba? Meron pa lang ganun. Okay, so yeah, so solutions is a container. So pwede niyo ilalagay lahat ng mga project niyan. So that once you open the solutions, the system automatically open for you the rest of the project that under on the solutions. That's good to organize your project. Okay. Now inside of that we have one project called online store. So let's say I wanted to add the existing solution that I created. So existing project. I believe we have this COMSOFIL online task. So I would say project COMSOFIL 2021-01 online task. So this is the project. So I have two project now. Okay. So this is what I said on solutions. You can add multiple projects on the solutions, and then once you open this, you will have automatically the two. Now it depends kung ano nang gagamitin mo. Mas mabilis siya kasi dito na lang hindi na kailangan pupuntahan mo pa yung folder mo kung saan mo na-save yung project mo. Now, next is we have the connected services. You don't need to do this, okay, for now. This is related to the shared codes for, let's say you have the GIT. GIT is part of 2019, and there are other part of services that we can add it on the project. Okay, properties. Properties. There's a project properties. You don't need to change anything of that. References, you don't need to do so. This is system generated automatically. But if you have another third party references that you want to add in your application, you can add it on this folder here. Okay. Application data. This is only an organization data. You just add if you have the databases files, you can add it there on the application data. Application start, how the application behave when you start the application. So you see bundle, this is a bundle where you define all the CSS, the CECs, GS, JavaScript, okay, all of this stuff. Now filter, how that the system or how that your application works. So it should some filtration on to avoid some hacking or all other malicious attack of your website. Identity is this is how will you uh, design or how you will able the system to interpret for your login. Okay, so let's say it's required for the password for at least 6 character length, and it's required for at least there's a cookies, all the stuff. Okay, you don't need to do it. You don't need to change for all of this file here. It's because that this is already designed by already pre pre configured by Microsoft. But later on in the future, that you are advanced enough, then you need to change most of the configuration from basic or from standard to advanced. Okay, startup route config, startup, all of this stuff. Like for the route config is very important. It's because currently it is only a one or a default, but later on you will design your own route config. What is route config? This will take few months for you to study more on route config. I can explain a little bit here. So if I go with about, so I have here about. Okay, this is your URL, the beginning one. Okay, this is your IIS. Now this is your controller, which is home. Inside your controller we have a action result, which is called about. Now let's see about it has a parameter. So usually if this parameter is say name is equal to Rene. Okay, so this question mark here and the name is a parameter, whereas Rene is a value. Okay, now in routing, on the standard routing or the default routing, this is the browser always look like this. Okay, now in Visual Studio or particularly for MVC or web applications, they have introduced this to be more safer. So kasi lagi nakikita sa tao, okay, yung variable mo pala name, so hahanapin ko nga yan. Kung gusto mong i-hack yung ano, so there are so many ways, okay? But in Visual Studio, they introduce the routing. So what we'll do, the system will be like this. So about, then forward, and then the value with Serene. So, sorry. Okay, yeah, so what happened your browse, your controller, your action result, and the value. So, on this case, it's very safe kasi hindi naman alam ng hacker na ano bang variable na gamit mo. Okay? That is already available in MVC. What we will do, we just add more routes. Again, this sinasabi ko sa inyo, di ba? The Visual Studio was configured only the default or the standard configuration as possible. But later on, you can design your own. So, like for example, ito gusto ko nang gagawa kan sariling route ko. So, ika-copy paste ko lang to tapos babaguhin ko lang yung action niya. Let's say my controller and actions and parameters required and optional and like this. So, that's good thing. Now, another. Next is content. So, content are very basic folder whereby you can organize all your templates, your images, your icons, all this stuff. Put this one on under on content folder. You can create more folders on that based on your needs or needs of your project. Now, next is controller. I don't want to say much more on controller for now. Let's skip that and I'll get back you on controller because sasakit ng mga ulo nyo dito at the same time magsilayasan na kayo sa cluster na to, no? Pag magsisimula na tayo sa controller. But biro lang, no worries, i-guide ko naman kayo kung paano mag-code. Yung mga first timer na nagko-code, tuturuan ko kayo kung paano ang proper coding. And then it's up to you to learn yourself further on how to do the coding. Okay? Now, fonts are essentials. Ang logo ba ay essentials? Hindi, di ba? Hindi, biro na. Okay, so fonts is essential to a project. Why? The reason is that um, kung gusto nyong papagandahin yung fonts nyo or meron kayong corporate fonts, kailangan natin i-define mo dyan sa fonts. Now, one thing also for the fonts is that for the icons, yung mga icons na ewan ko lang kung may icons pa dito by default. Wala. So, about okay, wala. So, yung mga icons, yung present sa first and two Fridays, na-explain ko na sa inyo yan at napakita ko. So, icons, nandyan na rin yung dinidesign yung mga icons like yung mga default icons na gusto nyo. Or kung gusto nyo mga customized icons, meron naman mga free, okay? I-download nyo lang yan, tapos ilagay nyo dito sa fonts na folder, tapos i-attach nyo sa project nyo. Simple as that. And then, pwede nyo na gamitin. Next is models. Models are the containers for data containers. So, models and data, application data is totally different. Application data folder is a physical folder where contains the file itself for your database or for your data. But models is a container of your data from your database. For example, katulad nito, meron tayong identity models, okay? So dito mo dinidesign kung paano ano bang size, anong type nito? Text, string, decimal, okay? All this stuff. But those are only the containers. Okay? Katulad ng parang balde at saka tubig. So yung balde mo is yung container lang yan, di ba? So sidlan. Now, yung tubig mo is the content which is from your database. So, para ma-render natin yung data natin back to the user or to the client or whatever it is, to the view, then you need to have a container. So, this is all the temporary storage of informations. It's not a permanent. Okay? Permanent are saved on the physical servers or on SQL servers. Okay? But for Visual Studio, for us to interact with the data, we need to have a temporary storage. So dito natin ilalagay yung data based on the format, and then pwede natin paglalaruan yung data. And then whenever the data are need to be changed or updated back to the storage, it could be saved for the meantime here at the until such time that yung browser nyo is buhay pa. So buhay pa yung data. But if the browser is closed or you have logged out from the application itself, then the data also has been gone. Okay? So hopefully malinaw sa inyo to. Next is we have script. Script are the folders very important for to make your pages beautification. Papaganda ng ano nyo. Hindi, okay, sabi niya, may iba naman nagtatanong, especially yung mga previous clusters ko. Sir, sabi mo, papaganda. Di ba ang CSS ang papaganda? Which is under on the content folder. Yes, you are right on that. But without this JavaScript, CSS will not work. Okay? Because reason that mostly of that JavaScript are linked with CSS. So if you notice, we have here Bootstrap as our CSS, and we have also a Bootstrap as our GS, okay, or JavaScript. So this is around 2,581 lines for the JavaScript alone. Imagine that. Okay, so for Bootstrap, how many lines for Bootstrap? 6,000. Kunti lang. Okay, so with that, without this JavaScript, our website will not work as we expected. Okay, so that's very important. So kung meron kayong mga customized script, lagay nyo dito, or kung meron kayong mga download na mga JavaScript na relevant naman siya doon sa dinownload din nyo na template, then i-segregate nyo yan. JavaScript, put in the script folder, and content, put all the CSS. But again, this is only the standard way of organizing the files. It doesn't mean that hindi ko may lagay CC all the JavaScript on the folder content as well as the CSS I cannot put on the script folder. No, that's not. You can put even a single folder on the rest of this. That's perfectly fine. Okay, but what mostly of the programmers is like me, I always do the organization of my files. So I organize which files that, like for example, all JavaScript I put in somewhere on one location. Let's say for the offices files, let's say all related to this, I put this a single folder, all related to this to another folder. So this is how it should only for the organization. Para mas madali natin hanapin kung ano. Kasi kung magkatabi-tabi lang naman, katulad si Ma'am Los saka si Ma'am Roslyn, pagtabihin mo yan, di ba? Malilito ka ngayon kasi parehong magaganda yan, di ba? So, pero kung katulad yan, magkaiba sila, yung isa nasa bilya, yung isa naman nasa labas, di madali mo ma-identify. Biro lang. Okay, now next is views. Views is usually this is EUI. Ito yung makikita ng mga mata natin, or prospectively is a graphics UI. Graphics interface. That is UI. GUI. Graphics user interface. Now, on the graphics UI interface for web application, we design this using HTML programming. So, programming HTML, we have also multiple programming languages related to HTML alone. Okay. So, we have also HTML5, which is the new to the market, or new to, if we say new to the market. And this HTML5 is an enhancement of HTML programming. There are few functions or frameworks that didn't work from the standard HTML, which is some frameworks in HTML5 that it will not work in HTML, which is right because luma si HTML, while HTML5 is the latest. So meron siya mga functions doon or mga framework na hindi gagana sa HTML. But mostly 99% or 100% script from HTML is work on HTML5. So wala namang masyadong pagkakaiba yan kung titingnan nyo talaga. Ano man pagkakaiba ng HTML5 and HTML? Usually wala namang pagbabago. Kung titingnan mo, let's say run your project and then go to your source code, right click, then view source code. In any website, okay, like Facebook, YouTube, all running browsers application, we just right click. This is free and just open. Just right click and view source. From there, you will find the source code of that project. But mostly of them are copyrighted, so you cannot copy and paste on that. Otherwise, your website will be closed and shut down for some reason that you're copying uh, some codes which is intended for other company corporate website. Like for example, meron sila masariling bootstrap, so may sarili silang mga CSS or JavaScript, hindi mo pwede pakalaman yan. Okay? Now, simple as that. So, HTML is pretty basic. Ito lang yan. Ganyan lang lahat na makikita niyan. But there are some features which is intended for HTML5. Um, we will not go into much details on HTML taggings because kung aralin natin ang mga HTML tags, ako iwan ko lang kung after 2 years pa natin siguro matatapos ang HTML tags alone. Okay? So, what I suggest is that try to self-study for some HTML tags, for the HTML tags, but we will tackle or we will use only basic HTML tags on the project. So, matutunan mo rin yan dito. Hindi naman kailangan talaga natin aralin lahat. Me, as a programmer, I didn't memorize all the HTML tags. Especially, ang mga HTML tags is pabago-bago. So, may mga bagong HTML tags naman ngayon, which is hindi available last year. So, on that note, kailangan nyo aralin yung anong bago, pero hindi na kailangan na i-memorize mo lahat yan. Hindi naman tayo, So, a programmer doesn't need to memorize all the codes. Why we should? Di ba? Saka tumatanda tayo eh. So what we will do is that we will create only the project that we had on the existing one. We just copy and paste to another new project and then modify that. That's simple as that. Hindi na kailangan memorize mo lahat yan. Let's say I have like 12,000 lines of codes for one controller that I have. Currently for this controller it has 30 lines. But the project that I showed you uh, um, last Friday, I believe. Yeah, this is buti in-up na nila yung server. So, this project for one controller alone, which is the master data, itong controller na to, it is around 16,000 lines or more. So, imagine that. Now, we only have 30 lines for that controller. For this controller alone. So, hindi kailangan natin i-memorize yan. It's not necessary na kailangan natin i-memorize all the codes. We just need to familiarize it, and then you just know where to copy and where to paste it, and what need to be modified. That's how we should think of. Kung yung nasa nag-aaral pa lang tayo, yung mga professor natin, laging memorize yan, kailangan nyo memorize to, kailangan memorize yan, kailangan nyo ganito. In actual life, hindi naman kailangan mo memorize yan eh. What you need to do is you need to do familiarization. Okay? Now, next is wala na. Wala na pala. So, okay, we have important files inside on the root directory for your project. One of these are the icons. Okay, itong icon, ito yung nakikita nyo. Pag patakbuhin yung program, hindi ito nakatakbo. So, patakbuhin mo to. You will see that icon on the top of your browser. Ito. Yan yung icon. So, kung meron kayong sariling project na, so palitan nyo yung sariling icon nyo. Okay? Pwede naman kayong mag-convert ng sariling file nyo. Tapos, baguhin nyo yung icon nyo, isave nyo as ICO, and then save it here, and then link it to your project. Or you can replace this existing file name here and just run your project. That will change also the layout on your project. Next is global. Global is very important. Ito yung it controls on the whole application at all. So without the global, this application will not work because dito yung mga initial configuration. Let's say area or area registration, just all registered areas, all this blah blah blah. But these are all the basic configuration, standard configuration that we can adapt. Later on, you can add more codes on this, which is like 200 lines at least, just to normalize or to make your pages or your application more secured. Okay. Now, package configuration, this is no need to change at all because this is the part of the configuration. Startup, you don't need to change anything here. Okay, keep it as is. Web configuration. Web configuration is one of the brain configuration that required for your application to work. So, dito lahat ng mga configuration na yan, lahat ng mga connection ng database. So, we have here the connection for our database. So, as I mentioned earlier, it is connected to our local DB. Okay, so this is good thing. You can run your application, do your registration, and the system will log into the local DB. Okay. Now, all other configuration like authentication, we have form authentication. If there is any error, how do you handle the error? What kind of framework that we use? Authentication, all of this stuff. All these important configuration are must be maintained on the config file. But it's possible, do not use your password and user on the config file. That's very critical, especially those public applications. Kasi sa mga hacker, kung hanggat may chance na makapasok sa server nyo, na once makapasok sa server nyo, pupuntahan nila yung web configuration mo kasi nandun lahat, di ba? So, kung meron kang user and password dyan, so ma-access na yung database mo kasi meron kang user and password. So, to make it more safe, do not maintain a user and password on the application. Okay, on the on the configuration to make it more safe. Okay, now that's all. So, what is next? We still have like 30 minutes, right? Now, our next is we need to update or change the name of or the text of our application. So this application is, if you see on the top, homepage dash myesp.net. I don't want this like this. I want this to be my own application. So in that note, you just need to go on the right file structure. One of these file structure is called views. Go on views, and then on inside the views we have different folders. Each of these folders has corresponding controllers. Naintindihan niyo ko? Baka nalilito na o nakatulog na kay lahat ha. Talon-talon naman pag may oras para hindi makatulog. Now, views have partition of folders, which is representation of controllers. So I would say we have account controllers, we have home controllers, we have manage, and we have manage controllers. They are one of the controller which is a folder which is not available on the controller, which is called shared. So what I said earlier is a representation of controllers. Views are representation of controllers. So it doesn't mean that hindi ako makapaggawa ng sariling folder ko dyan. No, you can create your customized folder that without any link at all to your controller. That's perfect. Okay, that's okay. Just in the end, it is your way to use that folder, but that would not any effect with your controller or your application at all. So we have one of this is shared. Shared folder is a common folder for all views. So if you look into the user folder, we have called layout. This layout is the main layout which is rendering in every page. You got me? ito na yung challenge dito eh, no? Challenge saka ah, gustong matutunan nyo. So, I would say, I am on the home screen and exactly the same layout that I saw. I have the application name, I have the home, I have about, and I have contact. But on the content, I have the ASP.NET and all this stuff. Okay? Now, but if I go to about, everything is exactly look like as is, but the content has changed. Like the application name is there, the home is there, about is there, contact is there, register is there. The color has didn't change, but the content has changed. I have now the about, subscription, blah blah blah. But the other, if I go back to home, I will see another content. So the one that you have shown or you have seen that is not never be changed, that is called layout or your master layout or your main page at all. That is under on views and then shared folder, and you will find that layout dot chhtml. So from here we can see the system was designed that any page or any page that you want to display, I need to add the title first and then the my application itself. So I will change this. I would say I would say um, online store uh, bar and then the page title. So I make it save and then refresh. So what happened here? I have online store and home page. So if I go to about, I will say online store about. If I go to contact, I will have online store and contact. And the rest, if you can go to registration, you will have register, login, and login. Clear? Is there any questions on this? May mga tanong o may nalilito na dyan o may nakatulog na dyan? Okay, let me proceed. We still have 30 minutes on this and we are not yet even touch on discuss on the bootstrap. Now, next is I need to change the application name. So, we have here called the address bar. Itong ano, yung icon mo, ito, application name, home, about. This is called navbar or navigation bar. Okay, so palitan natin yan ng name. Pwede say online store. And then index, home. Okay, so once I click, when I click the home, the system bring me to index. Okay, so sorry. So the name here we have called action link. So this is exactly the same as href. So kung titingnan yung pinaka main code nyo, right click and view source, you will find it here on the top. Online store dito. Okay? So ito makikita nila kung titingnan yung view codes, view source. But in our codes are differently, we design it in another way. So we have say action.link or HTML action.link and then the text, the actions and the controller. In which area, okay, and which class that we will use. Now, I will say I have home. On home, once I click home, I go to index and this is the controller. About, we have about and home, contacts, and home. So, ito pwede mo ito babaguhin. So, walang text lang kasi yan eh. So, save and then refresh. What happened there? It's changed home about 83. So, but if I click this, nothing is changed. It's because I always go on the specific actions on the controller. So this is only a display from this point of view. Now, let me save and it will say, sir, bakit dito may register sa login? Wala naman ako nakitang register sa login dito ah. Wala na oh. Yeah, it's because it is linked to another layout which is called partial layout. So if you go on the partial layout, you will find it here, partial layout. The partial layout, you will have here index. If you go for index, it will go back, but you have here the register and login and log out. It depends on the status of of your application. So if you are already logged in, so this will be changed into log out. But if it is really log out, if you are not logged in, then you have called login here. Okay, simple as that. So in meaning, on the master page, you can add multiple number of layouts that you wanted to. Then the system will, the Visual Studio will execute it for you. Now next is the most important. Another thing is the container. Sorry, I was drive through the body but I didn't discuss on the header. Baliktarin na natin isipin na natin na nasa Saudi tayo, di ba? Binaliktad lang natin. Okay, now next is the container. So meaning I would say this is our contents. Okay. Now if I go for about, this is another content and contact is another content. So ang ibig sabihin is this is how it will render the body. So you have another views that you need to render. It always goes in this line. So if you want this to have something different, I would say I need to add some text here. Say B is bold in HTML tags. So we say this is my online store. Save and then refresh. So you have here the text. This is my online store. So wherever I go for home, about, is still there. Hindi siya nawawala kasi nandun siya sa pinaka main or master layout natin. Okay? Now, but it is always render before on the content. You got me? Always render before on our content. So, pabalik ka ng contacts, nasa taas pa rin siya. Punta ka ng about or contacts, nasa taas pa rin siya. But if I wanted this to be put below on the content, I will say here, and save, and then refresh, we'll find that down here. Okay. May tanong? Ba, interesting to mga estudyante ko, hindi nagsasalita. So, dalawa lang to. Either nakatulog na o nagsialisa na to mga to. Okay. Next is footer. Footer is one of the important parts of the website. Essential ba to? Footer. Yung lugaw. Okay. So, hindi daw essential. Anyway, footer is essential to the project. Reason that this is you will put the date of when the last update of your website, who maintain your website, when has been updated, all of this stuff, company, copyright, all of this stuff, so you can maintain it under footer. This is a very basic footer that we had free here, but you can get as many as footer that you can copy from um, from the uh, from the application. May nag-chat? Okay. Now, thank you. So, yeah, we can add here, let's say, online store for my, ano ba? Bahala na kayo kung anong gusto nyo i-text yan. So, we can get as many as we can imagine for the photo. You can make it all black here and some text, some pictures, all this stuff you can maintain from here. So this is a photo where you can maintain all this kind of information. I will say H6. Let's say this is a company copyright as of 2021. COMSOFIL. I love COMSOFIL talaga, no? Okay. Pero parang ayoko na magturo after this. I think this is my last semester. Medyo pagod na rin ako since 2010 until now. So imagine that, pagod sa ano. Anyway, COMSOFIL is voluntary, saan ba yun? Nagkabulo-bulo na ako tuloy. So, Yeah, so I think I already gave some advice to the COMSOFIL BODs and officers that this would be my last semester to teach to teach in COMSOFIL, because I need to focus on my internal projects. I still have projects that I needed to work. One of this is a project in the Philippines. This is already this is already online. I brought this domain last week ago. I just need to fix some of the codes on this, finalize all this ordering system. Then I need to turn over to the owner of that project. But I since I have so many things, I cannot focus on it. Okay, so yeah, so that is our footer. Next is how to render all your JavaScript. So dito nyo ilalagay yung mga JavaScript na gusto nyong i-render. So kung meron tayong mga JavaScript doon na files, or meron kayong mga standard files na kailangan nyo i-render, ilagay nyo dito. Now let's go back on the top, which is head. Baliktad kasi, no? Inuuna ko pa yun sa baba, hindi ko pa sinimulan dito sa pinaka-top eh. So now, this is the basic HTML ha. So, sino yung mga may experience sa HTML dyan, sigaw-sigaw naman kayo. So, we have head, body, and footer. Footer is part of the body actually. Okay? But there are two parts of the website which is always have, which is the head and the body. Now, for the header is this is you maintain the your title of your page, the CSS that you use. Okay, all this stuff are under on heading. Okay, now all other stuff which is related to JavaScript are always part on the body down. Okay, or sometimes pinagsama na lang din nila, nilagay na lang inside there. That's perfectly fine. It's not mandatory at all that all the JavaScript or all the stuff JavaScript and CSS could not be on the same location. It could be, yes, but again, why it is designed like this? The reason that let's execute first the CSS and then execute the JavaScript. So always like this. So the sequence. So in the end, it's fine. I can have that the same sequence. I will say CSS and then JavaScript and the next. That's perfectly fine, and that is the correct hierarchy, or what I mean is the execution. But to give some time on the application to read all other stuff and then execute the CSS, that's perfectly fine. I don't know, but this is how it was designed. Okay, we just adapt on this. Now, hopefully, you are now have information on the master layout that we had, and then hoping in the future that you can more enjoy on enhancing on the main layout. That's most important para sa essential yan para sa project natin or sa application nyo. Okay? Now, what is next? Okay, so we have now the online store, blah, 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 and we are happy on this. Next is, we still have 15 minutes. On the 15 minutes, I'll give me some time for you to discuss Bootstrap. Since we are using Bootstrap, okay, so we need to learn what is Bootstrap and how to use Bootstrap. Bootstrap is an open source framework for CSS. So, sa simula pa kasi CSS na talaga tayo eh, no? Yung ako nagde-design dati ng website is CSS pa, ako pa gumagawa ng CSS. Designing a CSS it take you so much of your time, and it's not that easy because there's no UI available for that, and this is 100% codes. So what is that 100% codes? Say ito. Yan. I-code nyo kasi yan. So that is all the CSS. So imagine B. So B is considered also a strong, but what is the size on this? What is the font size? So all this stuff that is called CSS. So it's not that easy. But nowadays on the current technology, we adapted, and there are a lot of people who are working on to deliver a open source CSS that we can use. One of these is the Bootstrap, which is very known siya, no? Pag nung na-introduce sa market, hindi ito inadapt ng ano, kasi reason that baka daw ma-hack yung website nila, baka daw na ganito, But in the end, ginagamit na rin siya. So halos lahat, or if say 99.9% of the website now, they are using Bootstrap. I think the number for me is really high. I would say 80%. I would say 80% because they still have the old website that didn't update yet or enhance or updated. It is still, they have 90s 1990s website until now. No one has been go through and update the website, so they're still using the old CC style. So you would say if you want to um, squeeze the size of the screen, it didn't go as we expected. That is because that is a static CSS that we design, or that it has been designed on the on that company. Okay, one of these functions or one of these features of CSS, we have grid system. Okay, grid system. So kung nakikita nyo to, ito yung isa sa mga grid. So 1, 2, 3. So I have 4 columns. 1, 2, 3 columns. Maximum, each column has 4. So each in a grid system, there are total of 12 columns max. Okay, I will say column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. So but I can split this one into different parts or different groups. So we say 3 groups, like what happened with 3 groups, and each group has 4 columns. Okay, now let's go back on the documentation para maintindihan nyo. Baka parang pinagsasabi na si Rene. I don't want to read every line on this. It's because we don't have much time and it's not really necessary. I just want to show you on how it is, but it's up to you to read more further on how it really works on the grid system. Now, if it say maximum number of columns are 12, class prefix is calls, and then we have the sizes XS, extra small, medium, small, MD, what is MD? Middle, LG is large, oh medium, sorry, medium, large, small, extra small, size, okay? Now, container weight we say non-auto, so it is XS na kasi ito, so pinakamalit na siya. So for the SM is 750 pixels. For MD is 90 pixels. 970 pixels are for large are 1170 pixels. So this is currently this is 1000 1700 1170 pixels. All this itong laki na to. Now kung gawin mo siyang small, so this is the small. Okay, hindi siya masyadong nakikita nyo dyan. So, max, ito yung large natin, di ba? So, medium, ito yung medium. Okay, yan ang medium, di ba? Lumiit siya, yan ang medium. And then small, it should be this one. This is the small, and these are the the extra small. Okay? Now, gutter 30 pixels o 15 pixels on each side each column. So pwede mo to hindi siya pagdikit-dikitin, so pwede mo siya lalagyan pa ng gutter. Nestable, yes. Offset, nestable meaning ganito, naka-nested siya. Okay, offset, yes. Column ordering, yes. So pwede nyo i-order yan. So yan ang kagandahan niya. Now example for stack horizontal, we say column 1 up to 12. Okay, this is only the size of column 1. So, ganyan sa kalaki. Now, we have column 3, column 4, right? 4, this is 4, 4, 4, 12. So, if you go back to our project, we have, yeah, this is 4, 4, 4. Nalito na ba kayo? Now, we have, okay, we split it into 2. We have 6 by 6. So, hati lang siya. Okay? So, this is 6, this is 6. So, currently we have 4 by 4. So, if I will make it this one 6, one of this will be good down. Right? Sino makasagot niyan? Salvador. Okay. So, if you make this one 6 by 6, then one of these will goes down, which is true. So what we will do to test that, let's go down on home, index. So we have here 4 columns, uh, 3 columns. Okay, 3 grid system. So it is 4 by 4, 4 by 3. Sorry, 4 by 3. So we make it at 6 by 6. So I will say 6, medium of 6, and medium of 6. This is 12, and this is 4. I keep this one 4. Now let's save and refresh. So this is 6, 6, and this is 4. Okay. So if I make this one 6, yeah. What happened if I make this one 6? How do you know that this is 6? Sabi na, paano mo, sir? Kasi pareho lang naman sila. Oh. Ano pagkakaiba yan? Sabi mo 4 ito, tapos bakit pareho? Tinan yung text. Tinan nyo tong text. Diba hanggang dito lang siya. Kasi 4, ang size niya is 4. Tinan mo yung 6, hanggang dito ang text niya. Okay, so if I make this one 12, approximately, then this will take the whole line. So, okay, because ito na yung pinaka-maximum niya. So, probably babalik siya dito. Dahil ang text niya is hanggang dito lang, lumagpas pa rin siya sa 6. Pero kung may text ka dyan na hanggang dito sa pinakadulo, so, occupied na lahat niya yan. So, that is the grid system. May tanong? Okay, for mobile and desktop, so yun nga, dahil ang grid system is responsive siya, so ang mangyari, so ganito, so 6 by 6, so ganyan siya, palit ang palit, pagdating niya sa, kasi medium siya, so medium mo siya, so ito 6 by 6 siya sa 6 by 6 siya sa medium, but when it comes to small, naging 12 by naging 12 siya, or 12 by 12. Okay, which is true kasi ang design natin is only medium by 12, medium by 6. So kung pwede mo to i-combine, I would say column that is m small the 6. So I would say if it is small, make it 6 by 6, not only just on medium. So I would say this is medium. Now from here, I want this to be on 4. So kung maliit siya, gawin mo yung 4. Okay, save, and then let's go back, refresh, and then let's move it around. So large, medium, small, small, see, still 6 by 6, right? And this one is now by 3. Nalilito na ba kayo? Okay, so let's make it more small, and it's become 12. Yeah, Salvador. Okay, thank you. So ganun lang, simple lang, di ba? So we can combine on the grid system on anong size ang mangyari niya kung lumiliit yung design ng lumiliit yung screen niya. So I would say I want this to small size XCS, but I want to stay this one as 6 by 6, which is perfectly fine. So on that note, we will say call that XCS, I will say 6 by 6. Now to make this 6 and this one will be 12, it doesn't make sense at all, right? So let's make this one also 6 here, and this one will remain as 12. So let's go back and refresh. So make it more smaller. So we have here 6 by 6, 6 by 6, and this is 12. May tanong? Wala daw, sir, wala. Okay. Wrapping, all the stuff is for the grid system alone. It takes us 1 to 3 days to more on this. But I don't want to go more on the discussion on that because maubos yung oras natin. We still have 7 minutes remaining. Now, typography. So this is what we have discussed earlier. Typography, we have maximum of each 6. So we have each one, the biggest one, H2, H3, ano to pang-Arabic to no? Yung pinakamalit na number, yan ang pinakamalaki. So yung pinakamalit, yan pinakamalaki number, yan ang pinakamalit na display. So pinakamalaki is 36, 30, 24, 18, 14, and 12 is the H6. So I would say getting started is, what is this? Getting started is H2. So I would say H1, and also his get more, and I would say H2, I keep that H2. Hosting, I would say H3, and then save. If you are open your Visual Studio, you can follow me on this, or if not, then you can do it one later. I will try to push. I will try to upload that video for this video. I think the last session video, I think there's no need to upload that. I review that video. It's nothing much more important that it's need really to review it again. So I think today is this meeting is required, at least pwede kayong balikan na ano. So let's save and refresh. Now so we have H1, H2, and H3. So palit ang palit. Okay? May tanong? Next is we have body copy. So you can use the global default with font size 14, blah blah blah, all this stuff. Ito yung paragraph. Hindi naman siya masyadong kailangan pa i-explain, but you can explore on this. We have the lead. Lead also is good thing. It's a good text. If you say lead is just part of the paragraph. Pero kung meron kayong text na madami, let's say ito, lalagyan natin ng lead. Class lead. Ito. Save. Refresh. Ito. Diba lumaki na siya. So, yung ibang part niyan, pwede mo palitin. Yung ibang part mo palitin. So, belt with list, inline text, all this stuff, deleted text. So, ganito siya. So, deleted text is del. Ang HTML tags niya. Strike through also is exactly the same as del. CC is inserted text in all this stuff. I think it's good to that you need to self study on this. These are all the HTML tags I mentioned earlier. So study lang, okay? And gagamitin naman natin mostly yung mga basic na HTML tags on the project. So let's me scroll down table. Okay, tables. Let's see. I think table is one of the interesting that we can have it. So I would say table class strip. I will say table. So in this case, I have here 12 by 4. For small, it should become 4. So I would delete all this thing here, all this data. I will say table, and then sinong may HTML, basic HTML knowledge yan. Table, and then th for thread or header. Then we say td, tbody, if you want to have the body, and we want to have the tfoot if you want to have what we call this one, the footer of the table. So I will save and run. Let's see what happened. Nothing. Kasi wala naman tayo talaga nilagay. So we say under the t head, I will say tr table row. Okay. Under the tr, I need to add some table data. We say td table data. On td, ano ba yan? Nagkabulol-bulol na ako Kasi 2 minuto na lang daw So td, we say name. So another td, we say age. So on and so forth. So I will save and then refresh. What happened? So I have here name and age. Pero hindi siya naka-table kasi hindi pa naman siya, hindi siya naka-ticket lang siya, no? So hindi siya natin nasasabing table talaga siya. Now, let's add some data based on that header. So I will say copy and paste it here. And we'll say Rene. Ilang taon na ba ako? Kalimutan ko na. Birthday ko bukas pala. Ba, buddy, abangan ko yung regalo mo ah. Sige, salamat. Okay, so I say oh, abangan ko yan ha. Abangan ko yan. Okay, so now we have here our header and this is our value header and our value, but it still it didn't convince me that this is the table. So to make that beautification, you need to add the class called table. So it's a class table. Save and refresh. Now we have here gold. This is now sabi natin, aba table na talaga yan, no? Now if you go back to the documentation, there are a lot of table classes that we can use. So we have table strip. So let's try to use this. What this mean by table strip? Keep the table and then add additional class. Let's say strip. So ibig sabihin na the first line is dark and second line is white. So meaning that is strip. So I would say add another line. Let's say Salvador. Ito, abangan ko to may ano daw ito papakain to si Salvador So I will say here Salvador. So one of these are white and another one, meaning alternate. Okay, so I would add another one here. Let's say Richie. Save and refresh. So dark, white, alternate. So that is strip. Now, what is another type of class that we can use? We have also bordered. So let's try also the bordered. So I can remove the strip and I change this one into bordered. So what happened is all border. Okay? So hindi natin nagde-design yan kasi dati dine-design ko pa to, di ba? Through CSS. Pero sa ngayon, ang copy and paste mo lang, ganito na lang, automatic na yan ang lalabas. Now hover is like this. So condense it would be like this. And contextual meaning ito, pwede nyo ba patpatan ng kulay. So I would say TR class active or TR class success. So on the TR, on header TR, so I would add the class success. So I would expect that something changed on my header. So now my header is become green. Now, so you just need to read more on in advance or future reading on more on this tutorial or sorry on this documentation. You will learn a lot on this. Okay. Reading is the key. So hindi na siya PM is the key. So reading is the key. So basa-basa din pag may oras. Now, if you want to be this table to be responsive, so you can use also table responsive. So that's one thing. Forms. Okay, forms. We have different types of forms. We have horizontal forms or the basic forms, vertical forms. So let me add this one as forms. So I have a table, so I will add more columns here. We see div class row. So this is another row, and I add this form here. Just copy and paste, and save and then refresh. So I have here forms, and I have exceeded my hour, my time limit of 2 minutes. So babayaran na natin to sobra na to 2 minuto na Hindi, biro lang. Okay, now, so, may nahihirapan na ba? Sa tingin ko, parang wala pa naman ata, no? Okay, so, we are not able to finish the bootstrap. So, we will continue bootstrap next week. So, I expect that I will not create another project again. Is the reason that that's really time consuming. So, I will save, or I will upload this video today. And hoping that you will review that. So I suggest that if you want to really more study on this, just have start look into the bootstrap, and we just copy and paste just to see how it really works. So I just copied that another form, and just need to place it down on that what I have copied, and just refresh, save and refresh. Now you have another type form, sir. So that's I think that's the only what we need is kailangan natin mag advanced study o self study. This is the most secret way of success. Kailangan natin sariling study. Okay? Now, question and answer.